r/mi the butthole. Good evening, dear internet. I have found myself in a bit of a altercation with the old wife. Women are just hysterical sometimes, aren't they? Anyway, we have gotten a new puppy, parentheses, yay, and said puppy pooed on the floor. Now, I was screaming and tossing around things and punching holes in walls as I do with my masculinity. My wife said I was overreacting and said the puppy will be housebroken in the very near future. I don't think I was overreacting at all and took it upon myself as a proactive man to simply plug the butt of the puppy until further notice. Now, today, the puppy exploded from constipation in a giant fecal-filled explosion that filled the entire living room. Am I the butthole for overreacting to this? Parentheses, I do not believe I am the butthole. And send. It's so nice when the internet agrees with you when you are a good little protagonist in your relationship story. Good evening, laddies, lasses, and lassos, and welcome to the click. You smell absolutely astounding today. And don't let anyone else lie to you and tell you otherwise. Today we're doing something absolutely beautiful. I think most of us are familiar with r/mi the butthole stories where people take to the internet to have non-biased input from strangers about their disagreements and happenings in life. But sometimes it just goes completely overboard and it's very obvious the person making the post is just an absolute butthole, but still trying to get the internet's approval of being a butthole, and it usually backfires in hilarious ways. So welcome to AmITheDevil, which is a collection of all the butthole posts made by people who are the obvious butthole in the situation. I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy having you here. Let's get into it. Mwah. Would I be the buttface if I demanded to know who reported me to HR? I am in my early 30s and male. In our office, I am known as a bit of a jokester. Nothing mean, and I don't go out of my way to prank someone or hurt anyone's feelings. Okay, but you were still written up by HR. That doesn't quite track. I'm intrigued to see what happens in the story. There is a newer woman in our office. She is in her early 20s and she has a 3-year-old. They live in an RV park a few miles away from work, and I have nicknamed her RV Reba. That sounds really mean. I didn't see the harm. What about single mother Reva? Maybe that's a better nickname. It's just a silly nickname. I have given silly nicknames to most of my coworkers. If anyone complains about it, I just explain I didn't mean anything by it. It's just a silly thing I do, and there was no reason for them to be offended. RV Reba wasn't thrilled with the nickname. Yeah, I can imagine. Imagine you're new in the office and some random douchebag starts making fun of your living situation. This isn't something that is fun for everyone. This is just you being a low-key bully. RV Reba wasn't thrilled with the nickname, said it was insulting, but I explained it wasn't intended to be. It was just something silly I came up with. I am so sorry I slapped you. It wasn't intended to hurt. She asked me to stop using it. I don't use it around her much anymore, but I think it's a silly thing to get upset about. So I still use it around others? Great. Oh my god. Well, someone reported me to HR. I got called into a meeting this morning and giving a written warning to stop harassing my coworkers. I don't see how this is harassing at all. They are silly nicknames. I asked who reported me and they said it was not just one person, but multiple complaints. Ooh, I hope the people in this office just gang up on this dude and make up a nickname for him of something that he's insecure about or something he's struggling with and see how funny he thinks it is after a little bit. Oh yes indeed, hello, there still lives in mom's basement, Steve. That's gonna be beautiful. I asked who reported me, and they said it was not just one person, but multiple complaints. RV Reba, I just noticed that he's still using the nickname for her, right? So he's not allowed to do it in the office anymore because he got written up. The person with the nickname doesn't like it, so now he's taken to the internet, insisting on still using the nickname for someone we have no idea who it even is, so why even bother? Just to double down on it and be like, yeah, that's not so bad, blah, blah. You're trying so hard to get the approval of strangers when your entire office has told you to knock it off. Oh my god, dude, come on. RV Reba and a few others were getting coffee, and I wanted to know who reported me. RV Reba is really doubling down on this. Said she didn't know who it was, I guess. Glad they spoke to me about it, since I wasn't listening to them when they asked me to stop. I think it was probably her and one of the 2 other coworkers who can never take a joke. I want to know exactly who it was, though. Okay, why? What are you gonna do? Make up nicknames for them too? Ooh. A few coworkers said I'm already the buttface and should let it go. But I really want to know who reported me. Would I be the buttface if I demanded to know who it was? Dear Reddit, I have been low-key bullying this new coworker for the past month, and other coworkers told me to stop to the point where I was eventually written up with HR, but I want to keep bullying them and now want to start bullying the person who reported me as well. Would I be the butthole if I just started bullying everyone in the office to counter the fact that one person didn't like being bullied? You're supposed to be 30, not 12. Man. The thing is that bantery or teasy nicknames can be perfectly fine if you have the rapport with the person where you're actually having good banter back and forth. But this is like a new coworker at a place where you're already established. She's already struggling with the living situation, caring for a child and stuff, and now she has this douchebag in the office just making fun of all the stuff that is difficult in her life. Yeah, you kinda lack some empathy, my dude. You should probably take a step back. You're the kind of person in high school who'll be like, it's just a joke when they've been like relentlessly bullying someone for 2 years. Man, it's so transparent, isn't it? My god. Am I the butthole for being closer to my sons than my daughters? I, 38M, have been married to my wife, 34F, for 7 years. We have 4 kids together, aged 7, 6, 4, and 4. 6 and 4-year-old are boys. 7 and 4-year-old are girls. Me and my wife got into a pretty big argument recently, and I need unbiased opinions. I feel like I have always been closer to my sons rather than my daughters. You know, I am a boy. I like boy stuff. So do they. I don't like princesses or dolls. So I have always gravitated towards my sons because we have more in common. They're small kids, my dude. You can probably adapt and play with dolls for one afternoon with your 4-year-old daughter, okay? This is not that serious. Anyway, the argument started after my wife had put the kids to bed one night. I was laying down and she came into the room and confronted me about what my 7-year-old daughter had just told her. According to my wife, as she was tucking my daughter into bed, she started crying and asked, "Why doesn't Daddy like me?" That is so sad. Okay, then it's gone pretty far. Jesus Christ. It's because you just play with girl things and Daddy needs to kick a ball to enjoy time with you. Is that what you want to tell your kids? You realize how that sounds out of context, right? It's absolutely unhinged. My wife told me that the kids notice how I treat them differently, and I needed to stop acting like I hated my daughters. I told her I don't hate them, but we don't have anything in common. Yeah, you know, I can't spend any time with my 7-year-old daughter because we just don't have anything in common, you know. I love kicking balls and crypto and listening to podcasts. She like princess dolls or whatever. When is she gonna grow up and get some real hobbies like crypto? Okay, you know, here is an absolutely wild concept. When I spend time with small kids around me, right, whether it be boys or girls, I usually just adapt and play with the things that they want to play with, right? I can't say that I play with a lot of Duplo in my own free time, right? But I do it when I'm spending time with kids that happen to like Duplo. Okay, you as the adult adapt because the valuable thing is the time you spend with the kid and seeing them growing up and being happy and learning things and teaching them about stuff. That's the magical part. Like, not many things a 4-year-old does is gonna be, like, genuinely stimulating for you as an adult. That's not the point, okay? You got all of this backwards. She was pissed and started yelling at me about how immature I was being. I think it's stupid. Obviously, dads are going to be closer to their sons. That's just how the brain works. Oh, can we put up on screen the clip of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson getting maked up by his daughters? You know, just something I thought about when I was reading this. I tried explaining this to her and she just don't listen. She left and I think she went to sleep in my daughter's bed. I am not sure. So am I the butthole? I just want my wife to understand what I'm saying and she's not listening to me. I'ma be honest with you, bro, okay? You brought kids into this world, right? And having the expectation you're gonna have, like, things in common with a 4 or 7-year-old, and you're not gonna spend time with your kids to the point they're crying themselves to sleep if you just don't share the same interests. No, you spend time with your kids. That's the joy of it. Like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, the wife found the post. I am the wife. I found this post because when I went into our room to get the charger, he was asleep, but his laptop was still open with this Reddit thread. Oh my god, idiot! I don't even have a Reddit account, so I needed to make this just so I can post here. First, I can assure you this is not fake, as many of you here have suggested. Here are a few other things my husband has done that he conveniently left out of his initial post. I mean, it sounded bad enough to begin with, but here we go, baby. My daughter started crying to him about if he didn't like her, not to me. Wait, oh my god, she only came to me when he didn't care. So the daughter has already openly cried to the dad. This isn't something that was like, you know, low-key and hidden or whatever, and all of a sudden you realize like, oh my god, I wasn't spending enough time with my kid. The kid literally came to you first, cried, and you left that. That is so bad. That is so bad, man. My husband has taken our sons on multiple vacations without our daughters. Using my money, might I add. My daughters were told that it was a boys' trip and no girls were allowed. They are 7 and 4 years old, for God's sake. And this like goes beyond anything else, right? It's like, oh my God, I spent 3 hours kicking a football with my son and only 2 hours playing Barbies with my daughters, okay? It's like, you don't have to count minutes, but now you're talking about literal massive vacations and undertaking where you specifically have favorites with your kids. Oh, Jesus, what a parent. Nah, man. He refused to do both of my girls' daddy's daughter dances this past Christmas because he thought he was stupid. I danced with them instead. He tried to make my girls clean up their brother's mess because it's a girl's job to clean. I could go on for hours. I want to give everyone some more context. My husband works from home. By working from home, I mean he's completely unemployed. I am the sole breadwinner for the family. I am a doctor. I take sole responsibility in caring for the kids. Okay, so he's basically a house husband. So he should probably be spending most of the time with the kids, right? And then he takes a couple of the kids on vacation while leaving the other kids at home. And the mother is also working full-time. Bruh. I take sole responsibility in caring for the kids. He does literally nothing apart from taking the boys to vacation and making his daughters cry, I suppose. I bring them all to their sporting events, school events, appointments, etc. Ever since he had kids, he was detached from our daughters. He used the same excuse he said in here. He's a boy and doesn't like girl stuff. I mean, he also doesn't like working or responsibilities or house chores or bringing in money or anything else for that matter. The list of stuff he doesn't like is pretty long, to be honest. It's pretty hard to not get along with small children. Yeah, like all you have to do is use a third of your brain to like piece together a bit of Duplo together with them and they will be thrilled to spend time with you, okay? Like, the amount of brain power you need to like stimulate a 4-year-old is not that much, okay? They quite literally will do anything. My 7-year-old would go run through the mud if it meant she got to play with her dad for 5 minutes. God, I hope the kids don't have like problems later in life for this when they're like desperately seeking approval because their dad was so dismissive. That is so sad, man. It's heartbreaking to see how much she yearns for a relationship with him. This is not super important, but my daughter loves boy stuff. She likes to go fishing with her grandpa and playing video games with her brother. So the excuse of her not liking boy stuff is dumb. He just doesn't like his daughter. And then there's talking about some background relationship stuff and all that kind of jazz. What I find incredible about this story is that even when he left out as much context as possible, he was still very much the butthole of the situation. And then the context just made it 100 times worse. Oh my God. So he's not even good at being manipulative, right? He's not bringing in money. He's not working. He's not taking care of the kids. He's not taking care of the household. He's playing favorites and being detrimental to the kids' mental health. And on top of that, when it comes to the internet to be manipulative about the whole thing, he can't even do that right. At this point, it sounds way easier to be a single parent, if I'm gonna be honest. R/relationship advice. Should I, 21M, go for it with my brother's 19M girlfriend, 19F, if she's giving me all this? What title is this? Do you really have to ask? I will call my brother C and my brother's GFS. This is so freaking messy. I'm pretty close with my brother, but I honestly feel he doesn't deserve his GF. Ah, like a supportive brother, now you're gonna steal his girl because he doesn't deserve her. So my brother and his GF have come to our grandma for a week they have off. They have been here for 5 days. They won't leave for 3 more, and it's killing me. My little brother is not the best looking in the family. He's just not. Since he started seeing S, he's gone to the gym and bulked up a bit and changed his hair and his eating habits. Not because she forced him, she loved him even when he was chubby. He said he wanted to start working out and eating better to get into the same level of attractiveness as her. So they are literally inspiring each other to improve themselves as people while in this relationship with each other. That sounds like an amazing relationship. Why would you take this away from him? My best friend and I, she is a girl, both agreed beforehand that she is very good looking, just from her pictures with my brother on social media and stuff. S and C came to visit my grandmother, and I was there because I am currently living with her. Not only is she ridiculously hot, she is funny and smart too. She is pre-med and has taken a lot of hard classes that she is breezing through. She is the world's easiest person to talk to. The first night she came to visit, she was just quiet, as this was the first time meeting my extended family for her. The next day, C had a migraine, and she wanted to stay home with him and take care of him. But I convinced her to go to the mall with me, and C encouraged her to. We spent the day at the mall together. We played with puppies at a store and shopped a bit and got lunch. I don't think I have ever gotten along with someone as well as I've gotten along with S. She is beautiful, witty, and basically my ideal partner. I have quickly developed strong feelings for her. Okay, well, if there's anything I'm picking up from the story, it's that you and your brother probably have the same type in women, and you should probably back off because this is incredibly weird and toxic, and I don't think she's actually giving you any hints that she is interested. She's just being pleasant and polite with her boyfriend's family, okay? It gets really freaking messy from here. Is it because you made it messy? Maybe? C was showing me some memes on his phone and accidentally swiped by a lewd picture of hers. He thought I wasn't looking at his phone, but he did manage to see it. Well, he did manage to, you mean I did manage to see it. I thought this was really bad, but when he got up to the bathroom, I unlocked his phone and went to look at it. I couldn't help myself. Oh my god, you're literally creeping on intimate things between your brother and his girlfriend. This is getting into really creepy territory really fast. Now it's no longer like an unfortunate weird crush. Now it's just really, really bad. I have already mentioned that I think she is hot, so I won't go into detail about how I felt about the picture because it's probably obvious. I felt so guilty about it. Probably for good reason. You probably shouldn't have done it in the first place. Have you imagined what would happen if you actually told her about this? You know, that's usually a good idea to like brain play with things to see if what you're doing is absolutely unhinged or not. She would probably not take it very well. After this incident, I think people started noticing me becoming uncomfortable near her. My brother, my mom, and my grandma asked me about it. Eventually, S asked me if she had done anything to offend me, and I said no. I came to my senses and stopped acting like a douche. I asked if she wanted to go to the grocery store with me, and she said sure. I thought it was just gonna be the two of us, but C tagged along as well. We went to the grocery store together, went back, and ended up driving to the city in the afternoon. C fell asleep in the car, and again, S and I were talking. She ended up climbing from the back seat to the front to talk to me. We talked and joked the whole way into the city, and I just knew something was there. This is just wishful thinking, okay? You're projecting how you feel onto her, so it feels better for you and you don't feel as bad as what you're probably about to do. The thing is that personal chemistry and stuff and getting along with someone, it's pretty much a Venn diagram with, you know, romantic interest or whatever. That makes perfect sense. But that doesn't mean that every single person that is pleasant to you or that is easy to talk to is just going to be like an appropriate romantic partner, especially when they're in a relationship with your brother. I did something stupid and told her that I wished we had met in high school. Wait, was that the stupid thing that you said that, or did you do something else? And she replied that she thinks we would have been best friends. Ouch. Okay, you got the hint. You got the clear hint, okay? There is nothing here. There is nothing here. However, once we reached the city, she was back being lovey-dovey with C. It sucked because I wanted to hold her hand so bad. I think they felt bad for me because yesterday was V-Day and I don't have a GF. So they didn't kiss or anything. They just looked at each other like they're in love. My questions are the following. I know she can tell that we have a good connection, so should I go for it? I really want to tell her my feelings this evening. What's the best way to do that? Thanks. TLDR, I have strong feelings for my little brother's GF. She's a beautiful, funny, smart woman, and we really get along. We both acknowledged it. Should I go for— No, you didn't both acknowledge it! She said, oh my god, we would have been besties. That's like really clearly a hint like, hey, you're fun to talk to, but that's it. That's it. This is the boundary, okay? She has literally said it. Literally. What's the best way to let her know how I feel? Man, you're really gonna burn your family relations, your relations with your brother, and probably the relations with this girl over this crush, huh? Aren't you? I mean, you've already bypassed your brother's password so you could creep on pictures they're sending to each other and stuff. Like, you've already went way too far with this kind of thing. You need to chill out, take a cold bath, and back off, okay? This is bad. Update. I, 22M, and in love with my brother's GF. No, there's an update? Okay, hopefully they got some good advice on good old Reddit, okay? So against Reddit and my better judgment, I spoke to my brother, and as you can imagine, all hell broke loose. Okay, so I guess you didn't go with the solution to like, take a cold bath, let the feelings fade a bit, maybe go on like a vacation with a friend for a week, or something like that, you know, let it cool off, but no, just go straight into the brick wall, huh? The guilt was eating me up, and I told him about the feelings I had for his GF. I also came clean about looking at her pictures and apologized profusely. Ooh. This was about 3 hours ago. My brother punched me in the face and busted my lip. He went to our grandma and told her that he didn't feel comfortable with me in the house. My poor grandma was so confused, and C told her vaguely that I had acted inappropriately with S and violated her boundaries. Yeah. He went into S's room and asked her to pack her things so they could leave and found a hotel to stay in. All I could hear was her saying, "What? Why? What's wrong?" He took her and left to stay in Atlanta, promising my grandma he would call and explain when he got there. He just called her via landline and they will be getting lunch tomorrow. I received a text from S, so that's the girlfriend of the brother, about half an hour ago. I copy-pasted it. Honestly, this is ridiculous that I even have to say this. You violated C's trust and my trust. The pics weren't meant for your eyes. I love your brother, not you. It's never gonna happen. You've ruined any possible friendship we could have. I am not angry, but I can't forgive this. And I believe you need therapy. Good luck, my name. I hope you get the help you need. I am sitting here bawling in my bed while my grandma knocks on the door to ask what's wrong. Reddit, what do I do? What are the steps to fix things with my brother? How do I apologize to S? What do I tell my poor grandmother? Thanks in advance. I should have listened to your advice. You should have stopped like 4 steps ago, as people were also telling you, and your better conscience were also telling you. Okay, another aspect to this. What do you think would have happened if this had gone the way you wanted it to? So let's play out a couple of different scenarios, right? In this instance, you came forward with everything, the feelings weren't mutual, and now your brother, his GF, and grandma is probably gonna be pissed at you, and this family is on very rocky footing, and you probably lost a couple of good friends in the process as well. Okay, that's one scenario. The other scenario, the feelings are mutual. So are you then encouraging your brother's GF to cheat with you? And then burning the bridge with your brother, and then he's probably gonna dump her. So what, are you gonna run away from home with this girl while burning the relationships with your family? Because, I mean, your family is probably gonna find out about this as well. So even if the feelings were reciprocated, you would probably still burn the bridges with your family members and your brother. There is no way this scenario would have worked out well. This is the kind of instance where you just need to take a step back and cool off, okay? None of the scenarios that can play out is good, alright? I mean, what do you do now, Jesus Christ? You've already crossed the boundary, proven yourself to be an absolute creep who can't control his urges, and also tried to, like, go behind your back and ruin your brother's relationship. That is pretty bad stuff. Not a lot of people would trust you after this point, and you probably should have stopped, like, 5 steps earlier. This kind of stuff takes a long time to heal. Like, maybe in the future, if they don't stay together forever, because they're 19, they're young, who knows, maybe in the future, when they have been broken up for a while, everyone has been in new relationships for a couple of years, you know, you're 25 plus, all y'all, maybe you can have a conversation about it, you know, admit fault, some sort of forgiveness or whatever. Not that I think he would ever trust you completely again after this. There's no way you're ever gonna have a password for your brother's phone ever again, for example. Like, Jesus Christ, who would trust that? But maybe, but this isn't the kind of stuff that is gonna be repaired in a week. You know, this is something that maybe you'll be semi-forgiven for in like 5 years when the specific relationship is no longer relevant. But man, this is a big frick up, isn't it? My God. And also really creepy. Don't do this. Don't snoop on other people's intimate photos and conversations, okay? That is like massive boundary crossing. Jesus Christ. Hey girl, I know you're together with my brother and stuff, but you should really come be together with me. By the way, I hacked into my brother's phone so I could snoop through your lewd photos. I'm a catch. R/relationship advice. Fiancé M37 gave me, M34, an ultimatum to get married. I still want to marry him, but he won't give up on it. Please help. I met Mark, my god, 3 fiancé... No. It's just Viking rings, okay? I met Mark, fiancé, 3 years ago. It was one of the hardest times of my life, but he made it better for me and I was in love. We got engaged 5 months ago and we were in wedding planning until the ultimatum. Before I met him, I was married to Jared, M34. We were together since college and naturally we got married and wanted to settle down. A year into our marriage, I got pregnant and eventually gave birth to a little girl named Lana. I was so overjoyed, and so was Jared, and it felt like our family was complete. However, as Lana began growing, I noticed her becoming more attached to Jared than she was to me. She would cry non-stop if I was trying to hold her, but the moment he held her, she would stop. Okay, I don't know what age this is happening at, right, for the child, but it's very common for small children to go through periods when they're pushing boundaries with various people, right? I have experienced this with small kids in my family, for example, when they've reached a point when they're being rebellious towards their mom when they're like 1 or 2 years old or something like that, and it's incredibly hilarious in a way, because like the mother is holding him and it's like, yeah, and then I'm like, hey, I'll take him for a sec, and then when I'm holding him, not the mother, who he's pushing boundaries with at that moment, he's like, Hup! He just stops. It's really funny. So this isn't something to be super worked up about. This is just like tiny babies being babies, okay? Her first word was dada, and everything seemed to be for her dad, and not me. I mean, my first word was duck, to be fair, so there you go. I'll admit I got a little jealous and was hoping she would come around to me eventually, but she never did. What do you mean she never did? She's like 1.5 years old. Oh my god, I gave her her whole life, 1 year, to come around, and she didn't do. You would get along great with a piece of dad that said he didn't have anything in common with his like 4-year-old daughter. Man, you're like the same person. After 3 years of feeling like I meant nothing for her, I no longer wanted to be around her as it was painful, and I was resenting her. Okay, so you went like the toxic, needy high school relationship route, but with your 3-year-old daughter when you're 30 plus. Man, that's insane. I served Jared divorce papers and signed away my custody to him, agreeing to pay child support since I no longer wanted to even see Lana. Yeah, how dare that 2-year-old cry when I held her that one time. I decided to start over, and that's when I met Mark. He never knew the full story because he knew I was uncomfortable with talking about it. But he knew I used to be married. He knew nothing about the kid and thought my payments were alimony to Jared. However, he somehow found out, either through one of my friends or Jared contacting him. So far, nobody has fessed up and Mark won't say. And it's been rough. Mark said that he wants me to try reconciliation with Lana and is upset I abandoned her. He doesn't understand the pain I went through realizing the baby I gave birth to didn't love me back, and thinks I can't just solve this like it's a sitcom and everything will be happy in the end. Okay, maybe he's a little bit concerned about the fact that, oh my god, if we settle down and have a baby, and the baby, I don't know, cries a bit, as babies tend to do, she will abandon us as well, because the baby doesn't love her enough. Holy shit, what an absolute main character. Mark has given me the ultimatum that either I try reconnecting with Lana or he's calling off our engagement. He says he doesn't want to marry someone who will casually drop her kids over what he thinks is an inconvenience. That is a pretty valid concern, yeah. I don't think Lana even remembers me, honestly, and it will be too painful for me if I even try to talk to her again because of all the memories before I walked out of her life. I really want to marry Mark, but I don't want anything to do with Lana. Ah, yes, indeed. I was so severely emotionally traumatized by my 1.5-year-old daughter when she cried one time when I held her and didn't cry as much when my husband held her, so I abandoned her, and I can't stand seeing her again. You have some issues. You should not be settling down, getting married, or ever thinking about kids ever again. This is so bad. Is there anything I can do to convince him not to push the ultimatum anymore? I'ma be honest, I wonder if Mark hasn't already decided that he wants to break up with this girl and he's just trying to use the promise of engagement as a tool to get her to reconnect with her daughter before he leaves. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. That's probably what I would do. There's no way fucking hell I would marry someone like this. Oh my god. I, 26M, messed up with a perfect girl, 23F. How can I show her that I am serious about her? I'm not trying to make excuses, but I was tricked by her older sister, 27F. Is this one of those, it was dark, I slipped, and I accidentally cheated? Is this one of those? She convinced me that it would be okay if we hooked up. Oh my god, it is one of those, I called it! I know it sounds dumb, but technically we aren't official. My girl has been waiting for me to make it official, but I have been too busy for a relationship, but I think it's about that time for us to become official. Yeah, you know, bro, I've been dating this girl, whatever, it's getting a bit serious, but we haven't had the talk yet that we're specifically exclusive. Oh, bro, so you're gonna make the move and ask her to be exclusive and officially be your GF? No, I went and f***ed her sister instead. So anyway, when should I pop her the question? Oh, what? What? Well, that's one way to speedrun this relationship, I suppose. But right now, she's not talking to me. I really like everything about her. She has a good job, she's thoughtful, and can throw down in the kitchen. We have been seeing each other casually for 9 months. Okay, so we've been dating for 9 months. It's a pretty long time to not become exclusive, if I'm gonna be honest. But anyway, she was waiting for you to pop the question, and instead you went and cheated with her family members. Well, maybe technically not cheating, you know, because you weren't technically exclusive or whatever. But it's a pretty big turnoff for most people when it's oh my god, it's going really well with this person I've been dating for 9 months. Maybe we're gonna be for real. And then they just go and casually sleep with your family members. It's not like a great foundation to start a relationship on, I'm gonna be honest. I started getting to know her sister, and her sister and I eventually had a conversation about hooking up. I was totally opposed to it, but she tricked me into believing that it's fine if we do. What do you mean tricked me into believing that it's fine if we do? Did you seriously believe that? Do you think that she was oh yeah, I know my sister so well, she'll be fine with me hooking up with her boyfriend, you know, we've done it before, or whatever. I mean, if this was an honest thing, which I can't imagine unless you're absolutely bonkers or it's a polycule situation or whatever. If this was actually serious, why didn't you ask your girl that you're dating, okay, about this? Hey, your sister told me that it's okay for you if you hook up. You realize how that sounds? You think you would get a yes? I am just ready to get serious with this girl. I don't think she is anymore, but she blocked me, and I want her to know that I initially said no, but her sister tricked me into pretending it was okay. Yes, I said nah that one time, but she said come on, and I said yeah, sure. You know, I was really trying. I was a poor manipulated victim. r/ask men relationships. Should a man who is making more money than his wife really be expected to take on housework? I make 80k, my wife's make 50k. She's getting more and more pissed that I don't do equal chores around the house. I do trash, lawn care, auto repairs, and I carry heavy poo in from her car. I am not scrubbing floors when I'm bringing in 30k more than you. Is that what you told her as well? That must have been a fun conversation. We got into it when I told her the house was falling apart recently. She yelled at me, "What do you do?" And I told her, "I am paying more of the bills." She of course thinks I work too, blah 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 blah. Okay, get a raise and then talk to me. Until then, my contribution is bringing more money for us than you do. Yes indeed, wife. If you don't get on a Sigma grind set, you can't demand me to clean. Disgusting, it's beneath me. You're the peasant in this relationship. Okay, to have like a bit more of a nuanced take on this sort of topic, right? If you're in a relationship and one person works, for example, significantly more hours or something like that, or one person takes on more childcare or whatever, then of course it's fine that different parts of life is balanced in different ways. If one person works more hours, then it's just natural for the other person in the relationship to take on more elsewhere. But from this text, they don't mention anything about hours or whatever, and that makes it sound like both people are roughly equally busy to begin with, and then it's pretty fair to split it. Like, of course, if you're working like double the hours as well, yeah, then I would imagine the other person to take on more work. But you just sound really weird about this. You sound insufferable to share a household with, because a lot of the chores are like, beneath you, because I make so much more money, blah, blah, blah. And then money is gonna become a competition in this relationship. Like, who's gonna scrub the toilet? Oh boy, who brought home the biggest bonus this Christmas? It was you. Oh, so I have to scrub the toilet. This sounds like a wild relationship. You're having like a competition of salaries with your partner, and that dictates who scrubs the toilets, basically. Nah, this is not a healthy relationship at all, is it? I made a move and got rejected by my married friend. Oh my god, who would have thunk it? You know, maybe you could have seen that coming due to the fact that they're literally married or something, but what do I know? I read the comments on my original post and the majority said not to do anything or distance myself, but I couldn't get myself to. Oh my god, this is the same as that guy that was trying to get with his brother's girlfriend. What is with these people making Reddit posts and still not taking the advice and doubling down on their bullshit? Deep down, I couldn't walk away from something that felt this perfect. I spent the whole break wishing he was spending time with me instead of his wife, and today was the first day of classes, so I took my shot. I asked him if he could pick me up from work on the way to class, and he agreed. The ride there was the usual, but on the way back when we stopped at a red light, I grabbed his face and kissed him, and he pushed me away like I was some stranger! Oh! I just literally... Isn't that just kind of like assaulty? You know, this is kind of assault territory. And you're like, oh my god, how dare you push me away like I'm a stranger just because I was munching his face? It was like the hours we spent in the car talking and connecting meant absolutely nothing to him. Or you were just like, I don't know, doing a carpool thing with a coworker. It was awkward for a few seconds until I told him everything. How I have felt over the last few months. We could have been an amazing and comfortable life together with our combined salary, which is already over 400k, which will increase once we graduate. Why are all these people ranting about money? This is wild. And we could have children, and I would have been a great stepmom to his unborn child. You have already planned out an entire future. You've already calculated future salaries, like how many kids you're gonna have, where you're gonna live, the entire future. And he's just sitting there like, man, I was just trying to carpool with someone to work, and I already have a wife back home. What? I said we could be discreet and put on appearances for everyone and start with a few dates and test the waters. And he could go back to his wife if he decided he truly didn't want to be with me after giving me a proper chance. Ah, yes indeed, you totally wouldn't resentfully burn his life to the ground if he agreed to not continue dating you, I suppose. This is just a great opportunity for everyone. He had some weird smirk on his face, like he found what I said funny. And still he said absolutely nothing the whole way, until he dropped me off and said that he won't be driving me to or from class anymore. I texted him again later to reiterate everything, and he shut it down without an explanation. You know, apart from the one that he's married, and you're just like a person he carpools with. Okay, great. And just dismissed everything I told him and my vision for our future, and said he makes more than enough for him and his wife to live comfortably, and didn't reply to my messages after that. I am honestly really angry that he wouldn't even consider being with me. Being someone who takes pride in taking care of myself and looking good, making 130k and having good savings, being ambitious and having a loving, affectionate personality somehow isn't what he wants. I think his wife is probably what he wants. If you're such a catch that you claim to be, try, I don't know, flirting with single people. Decent first step. I don't know if he's going to tell his wife or our friends in our program, but I still think he should at least be open to a short-term fling since he rejected me without even considering everything I offer him.
Ah, yes, indeed. He owes it to me to burn his life down and cheat on his wife because I made up a future for us while we were carpooling. Therefore, he owes it to me to burn his life down.
We're both young, ambitious, successful individuals that could easily be a power couple if he could forget about his wife. Parentheses derogatory. So, this guy has spent months thinking that you and him are friends. He's done you favors like driving you to class. He hasn't once led you on or hinted that he's romantically interested in you. So you repay this friendship by kissing him without consent equals sexual harassment. And then when he is clearly not interested, you try to convince him to leave his pregnant wife. Wait, the wife is pregnant as well? Oh my god, this just got worse. Somehow. Because you built a whole imaginary life in your head. Lady, you really need to talk to a psychiatrist. Your behavior is scary. Like stalker level scary. You need to figure out why you're so obsessed with this imaginary life. I don't even think you have a thing for him, to be honest. I think you have a thing for an imaginary future that doesn't even exist at this point in time. You're in love with a fantasy and trying to get him to go along with the fantasy. Like, this is not healthy for anyone. You know, just ignoring the fact of like the sexual harassing stuff and the encouraging cheating and dumping a pregnant wife and all that kind of jazz, which shows that maybe you're not as great of a person as you think you are, perhaps. Anime waifus are going to become increasingly popular because real women are nothing close to what men really want to date and never were. Oh, it's one of these ones. I already know a few people will misunderstand or read in between the lines. I don't think you have to read in between the lines. You can read straight on the lines on this one and see things that I did not say. But I do big care, as everyone will see I am right in a few decades or so anyways. Ah, yes, the beautiful dystopia, paradise where everyone has robot partners and AI chatbot girlfriends instead of going on real dates with human connection, because, you know, an AI chatbot will never tell you no. Reality is that what men want from a relationship and what women are and willing to give are just not compatible. Who are you speaking for? What are you speaking about, and based on what? People are quick to say that men are owed nothing from women, and they are right. But if men cannot get what they want, why would they bother improving themselves or dating women at all if they're not going to get what they want? Okay, what is it that they want though? What is it? Are we gonna specify this? Instead, they would just find some alternative way to get what they want. Which is why anime waifus, naughty dolls and such, are becoming increasingly popular, and men are quitting society more and more. Anime waifus are designed to have the personalities men actually want. Wear outfits that are uniquely them, are innocent and cute, naughty with them, respect them for just being them, attractive to them, etc. Okay, but this is like the point of dating, like a real person, right? A real person doesn't exist solely for you, just in the same way as you don't solely exist for your partner either. Everyone is a complete person with their own interests, desires, and that kind of stuff. That is why if you want a real, meaningful relationship, which also is supposed to like expand your boundaries of life and expand your horizon, allow you to do new things, know new things, learn from each other, etc., it means a certain level of compromise. You know, you can't always just be a spoiled baby that always gets what they want in the moment, okay? And that goes both ways, by the way. But the point is that the compromise shouldn't be so big that the rest of like the happy stuff in the relationship becomes smaller. If the compromises are this big and then the happiness in the relationship is this big, then it's not the right relationship and you should both find someone else. But you're talking about relationships where you don't have to give up anything or compromise anything, but your partner should only exist for you, okay? That's what you really want, and in that case, I suppose you're right in one way. You're not ready for any kind of real relationship. Just the type of femininity that real women do not have at all. What, they're not animated? They do not demand you to man up for them. They accept you for you. They do not expect you to earn money or be confident. They love you for you. They love your hobbies. You do not have to be worthy of them. You were born worthy. You do not get shamed. You do not have to hit the gym. You do not have to be masculine. You do not have to buy dates, deal with all the rejection. You can cry to them without getting it used against you. You can escape all the people trying to change you, etc. Okay, this is what I don't like about these sort of texts that I read online, because they take these sprinkles of truth, but they turn it into this massive black and white thing. They basically overemphasize how much impact it has. For example, are there toxic people out there that will use your weak moments, if you cry as a man, for example, against you in a very bad way? Yeah, there definitely are, and that it's something you should look out for and something we should be open and talk about. And it's not okay, and you shouldn't be together with someone that treats you like that. Does that mean that every single person you will ever date is gonna be like this? No. No, it doesn't. You do not have to hit the gym, you do not have to be masculine. Okay, you shouldn't feel forced to do things like this for your partner, but if the relationship is right, I think that maybe you should want to. Like, not everyone is into hitting the gym, for example, but if we bring that up as an example, I, for example, go to the gym partially because I want to look good for my partner. That's like part of the motivation. Like, I really appreciate it when my partner's like, oh wow, you got in shape. Like, that feels really good, and I can be there for them. I can be competent when it comes to heavy lifting or stuff around the house. I find that really fulfilling, and it's something I want to do. I think there is a difference between like, oh man, I'm in a relationship that makes me feel like I want to be better, versus I feel forced to do things I don't want to by my partner. Those are two distinctly different things. You see what I'm getting at? And I don't think this text or texts like this really understand that. Something that a real woman will never be able to compete against at all, especially when modern women have no interest in being what men want at all. But a good partner also challenges you, right? That's part of the point. Like, it doesn't mean that you hold each other's weaknesses over your head, but if something, for example, that you need to work on, whatever that might be, they challenge it and they push you and they're encouraging about it, right? That is a good partnership. Like, I wouldn't want a partner who never challenges me on things. That doesn't sound good for both parties. I expect waifus and such to be more and more popular, with time, eventually with men are more successful, blah blah blah. We already exponentially headed that way, really, even in the past several years when men have been dropping out more and more, and when love bots and advance enough will be worth it. I expect marriage, birth rates, and dating to tank even more rapidly. We are quickly approaching a shakeup as big as birth control here, and most are just in denial of it. Edit, a lot of people are taking this personally for no reason. Also, why would men not interested in real women care if they are attractive to real women or not? Wait, what? Oh, I see. Okay, so if you're not interested in dating yourself, why would you care about being attractive? Alright, I sort of see where you're coming from, I suppose, but also a lot of things we deem as attractive are also stuff that is deemed as, like, you know, taking care of yourself, being responsible, smelling nice, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of overlap between just generally looking respectable, if that's the right word for it, or looking like you take care of yourself or being disciplined, versus attraction. There's a lot of overlap between these things. Humans are very intricate social creatures. I mean, the point of this post, I suppose, is that dating and stuff has been going down in the last few years. I think it has a lot to do with social media, and COVID certainly didn't help, and so on and so forth. There's more lonely people now than they were a bunch of years ago, right? So there is like a vague point to this post, but then I think it also completely misunderstands what you should be seeking out if you want to live a healthy life. A point of a genuine partnership is that you're two adult people with your own lives kind of putting it together and doing something greater than you could do on your own. Only having like a AI chatbot GF is the equivalent of just sitting in your goon cave instead of like living your life. The thing is that sitting in comfort and not having yourself challenged or ever work on anything is comfortable in the moment, but it's going to lead to a miserable experience long term, and it isn't something that should be encouraged. It's fine in moderation to just sit in your goon cave, you know, but don't make it your entire identity. It should never replace the rest of your life if you're interested in actually living your life. This is also a bit of a side tangent, but one thing I see repeated in these sort of sentiments online is that the relationship aspect sort of bypasses everything else. Here's what I mean. A relationship is something that comes like 2 or 3 steps down the road, right? The first step is to just be happy being by yourself. The next step is feeling like I'm ready to date, you know, and I'm in a healthy space to do that. And then at some place down the line, dating comes into play. And this also plays into like how you live your life. If you go outside, for example, and have interests and, you know, go to an exciting workplace, or maybe you're in uni and you go to a campus, you have social activities and parties. When you do these things, it's more natural to meet a partner. In my own life, for example, when I think back on my 20s, for example, the time in my life where I met the most prospects for dating, so to say, was when I was in uni, just because of the sheer exposure to the amount of people you had on a daily basis. It's kind of math at the end of the day. And this is something I think people like this sort of misunderstand sometimes. A healthy relationship is something that comes like 3 steps down the line. You know, it's like social life, interest, being happy with yourself, blah blah blah, and after all of these steps are taken care of, that's when like a relationship usually just comes into the picture kind of naturally, because then you're bonding with people you're having things in common with, meeting new people, that sort of stuff, growing as a person. And I think that's why getting stuck in this sort of thing is so unhealthy, because it probably means those steps before the relationships aren't really there yet, and that's why it's very easy to just fall back into your goon cave instead of dealing with all this other life stuff. You are in an international group. Speak the current lingua franca, English. I swear to God, I'm so annoyed when people, especially Spanish or Latin people for some reason, barge in public, international group or forum only to speak their language. Ugh, it's rude. And when you point it out, they smugly state, actually, your language other than English. Yeah, no shit. English isn't my native tongue either. You don't really expect me to learn a different language just because you are the one at fault for not knowing or learning the current lingua franca. Another statement that pisses me off when they bring the outdated statistics that Chinese is more spoken than English, but let's assume it's still true. What good does an isolated people speaking L1 Chinese do for mutual intelligibility? All that language is concentrated in just one area, not globally. It's the L2 speakers that matter for mutual intelligibility. Way more L2. What is this rant, man? Oh my god. Sed prater bricanna mihilingalle solantike sunt, olinam sapetinus delegerim, trios riadanyavum grimgreg fnjam beth I fediv. Quel a de problème avec les langues estranges upi? Nail that one. Ja, förstår precis vad du menar. That one was easier to read. Upi nunca he visto anade hackereso. Uchi danchimane bukea. Ah, well, laddies, lasses, and lassos, I do hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoy having you here, and have an amazing rest of your day, because you do deserve it, and I will see you in the very near future. Take care. Mwah.